All right. So let's try style analysis. This one. Done all of that. We've done historical. All right, so style analysis. Be real careful in this. There will be at least 4 students this class that won't hear this. I'll probably say it 17 times, and then the 18th time they'll finally sink in. So style analysis, your client comes to you with a balanced mutual fund. A balanced mutual fund has stocks and bonds in it, and asks, can I use this mutual fund in your recommended allocation? And what is your answer going to be? You already know it in advance. The answer is, no, you cannot. Why? Because the allocation of mutual fund is going to be so radically different from what you're recommending. I have at least 3 or 4 students that I spent 40 hours looking for a mutual fund that matched my allocation. You're not going to find it. There isn't one anywhere on the planet. All right? So just find a mutual fund that has stocks and bonds in it. Run the style analysis. It's going to be very different in your allocation. It's probably not going to have near as much in small cap stocks. Probably won't have near as much in international stocks. And you just say, no, this portfolio, you can't use it. It doesn't match your allocation. All right? So what can you find? Well, if you look at what I set up, style analysis, it takes a portfolio like this and just tries to figure out where is it taking its risk. What asset classes is it taking? We refer to this as beta risk. What is the beta risk of this portfolio? Is it in small cap value, small cap growth, large cap, international? Where is the value? Where is the risk coming from? Right? The mutual fund I'm using is VBINX. It actually it's not open anymore. It's been closed. They have some Admiral shares, which is a different ticker. But you can't use this mutual fund, so I'm just going to use this mutual fund. I might try another one just to show y'all. So what do? You go find a mutual fund. So you can go to, I'll do Vanguard just because I know their site. You can go to Vanguard.com, and you can click over here on Personal Investors. Go down to the bottom, and there's a place that says Browse Our Mutual Funds. And they'll actually show you those funds that meet our criteria. Takes a while to load, but so we don't want money market, we don't want tax exempt, we don't want bonds, we don't want investment grade, tax exempt. Here we are, balanced funds. You don't want the target funds either. First of all, they don't go back far enough. You want at least 10, 15, 20 years over here. They don't go back far enough. But also target retirement plans, they change their allocation every couple of years or so. So you got a moving target. You want something that's a little more constant than that. These target risks can work. You can see they do go back quite a bit. We may try one of these just in here just to see. You see the word balance. You might also not, if you don't find the word balance, they might use the word asset allocation fund. I forget what other words they use, but here's the one I'm using, but it's a different ticker, so you can't use this one because it's the same one, but also it doesn't go back far enough. So this is the one I'm actually using, but it just has a much lower expense ratio than this one, this new one. Some of these, like Wellington, goes back to 1929. I don't think you can like Wellington because they changed their allocation so much, you'll get a really low R squared. But some of these would work. Some of these would work here. So you have several to choose from. USA has funds, Fidelity has funds, T. Rowe Price has funds. You're trying to find someone that can go back, hopefully into the 90s would be ideal. But so I've got mine. It's not up here because it doesn't exist anymore, but they still have investments. They just closed it to outside investors. So VBINX. So I'm going to go to Yahoo Finance. I'm going to type my ticker in here, VBINX. Hopefully something will happen. I'll hit enter, maybe I can speed it up. There it is, finally. I'm going to click on historical data. And listen real carefully on this. This is really important. I'm going to click on the dates, the time period. I'm going to click max. My max goes back to 9/28/92. Now my spreadsheet is set up to start December 1987. So if your fund goes back to anywhere up to December 1987, you're fine. If it goes back to like 1980, you need to change your starting date to 11/30/1987. All right? This is true for this one and for the manager attribution. Right? So my spreadsheet's only set, I actually have some data that goes back further than that, but I only set the spreadsheet to go back to December 1987. All right? So this one, not a problem, right? It only goes back to 1992, so I'm just going to use this one as it is. But if you see 1980 or whatever, change that. That's probably more likely with the manager attribution. All right, so just click on max and say done. And then over here on frequency, mine's over, it should be over on the right. I don't know why there it is. On the frequency, click on that, make it monthly. And then make sure you click the apply button. All right, and then I'm going to download this and download it into Excel. And when I download it, all I need is the adjusted close. The adjusted close adjusts for all the dividends that the firm made, so you can get a true total return. The only thing I need, other than the date, so I'm going to get rid of everything except for the adjusted close. Here you can use the delete function. I don't want the very first date because I don't know when that first date started. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of that first date. And I'm going to control down and get rid of April because April's not over yet. All right? So I've got my dates and my adjusted close. So just take that first date all the way down, Control Shift down, and copy it. And come over to the style analysis. And right here at the top of the green, first thing you need to do, see up there, make sure you select everything and delete it. And then you paste your firm. And I can't do it now, so I should have done that first. Control C. You paste your fund in here. Now, last night it was a big mess because I had some date formats, but I fixed that now, so you don't have that issue anymore. You notice that column A is hidden, and that's where all the magic is happening to fix the dates. So any date you put in there will work. The reason I delete everything in the green is it's possible there was a fund in there. Like if you start in 96, you will have your data from 96 through March 19, and then you'll have my data after that, and it's going to mess up everything, so you don't want to do that. So yeah, just make sure first thing to do is select this and get rid of everything in the green. Y'all know how to do Control Shift down, right? Don't do Control Shift right. Well, it looks like that works. But Control Shift down. You only want to delete what's in the green. Then paste your firm's dates and returns, and everything is all set up. So all you have to do now, once you have that pasted in there, everything's lined up. I'm using vertical lookups to bring in the data. Then we just click on Solver, and what Solver's going to say is, hey, I want the highest R squared I can get by changing my allocations such that they add to 100%. If I solve on that, the highest R squared I got was 94%. So what Bill Gates is saying is that this allocation up here best explains the risk that this mutual fund is taking. That's the best explanation for this mutual fund. I'll try another mutual fund just to give you some tests. All right? So this mutual fund is taking almost no exposure to small cap stocks, no exposure to international. I go back to my recommended portfolio, and it's got 40% international, and it's got 12% in small cap. I obviously can't use this mutual fund. All right, so how many students are going to go out there and look at 50 other mutual funds until they find one that works? Someone will. Usually in my I won't say it on the tape, in my class over there, yeah, they're like, oh, I spent 40 hours when they spent like 3 hours, but they tend to round up to the nearest 40 hours. But don't do that, you're wasting your time. All right, so you run it, you see the allocation. Now the only other question is the R squared. What if you get a 20% R squared? You probably need to find another fund. There's something wrong with that. I'd like to see it at least in the 80s, but if you can only find it in the 70s, that's okay. You're going to find like that Wellington fund I showed you, that one only gets to like in the 50s because they change allocation so much. Let me try another mutual fund. Any questions on that before I do another one? I'm going back to Vanguard. You can do this one if you like. Let's try this VS CGX. So there it is. Historical data, the max back to 94, monthly, apply. I'll bring this in. What do I do next? Anybody remember where to go next?
Just leave it.
Delete everything but just it close. Here you can actually delete. What else do I delete? The first date, the last date. Then you just well, before you do that, go over to the model, get rid of everything there, and come back, control copy. There it is. We already have an R squared of 78 without even running solver, so this one probably would work. All right, so I'm going to do solver, solve to see how much better they can get it. It's up in the 80s, that's pretty good. So 81%, not great, but pretty good. We can explain 81% of this risk of this fund by doing this. What is it doing? Well, this is a conservative fund. It's got 60% of its money in bonds, and I'm about to recommend this guy put 70% of his money in stocks. This fund obviously is not going to work. All right, so you just talk about that, and then I built this graph for you. This graph compares the two funds. It doesn't look as good on this one. It looked a lot better on the other one. But you can put that in your paper as well. If you do, change your axis. Make sure you type the name of your fund right there, right? Because whatever you type there goes in the title of the graph. All right, so type in your fund. I didn't do that with mine, but type the name of your fund there. Because whatever's there is going to come over on the graph. And it shows you. Obviously, it looks like something has changed here recently with the two funds and they're moving apart. It looks like you would have been better off just buying indexes, right? Because they did a whole lot better than the mutual fund itself. If you go back and look at my original file, it's telling us the chart looked a whole lot better. Those look like very high. That's the 94% correlation. That R squared. That looks. Those two look related, right? Have I explained most of the risk of this portfolio? Yeah, I would say I have. Right on top of each other. And again, I would want to change. I don't like white space on charts, so I would get rid of the white space. I might even be able to get rid of the downside. Don't change it from 0 to 1 if you have some negative. But if it's all about the line, you can get rid of the 1 as well. You just want to fill the whole thing, and then this you can copy and paste that into your paper and talk about that as well. All right. Any questions on the style analysis? So the R squared is just telling you what percentage of the risk of the Vanguard fund can you explain looking at the volatilities underlying indices. We can explain 94% of the risk that Vanguard is taking by looking at that combination of allocations to those underlying indices. That's pretty powerful. It's a really great analysis. We could compare this to what Vanguard actually says about the fund. If they say this fund is 40% stocks and 6% bonds, and my allocation says it's 70%, then it gives you something to debate with them. I doubt you'll find that big of a difference. Really good analysis. There's a good